In Pakistani TV industry, we have got a ton of dramas with happy endings. But only once in a blue moon, we get interesting stories that doesn't follow the formula of happy endings. Instead, they give us something to remember for all our lives. So here we go in no particular order. Kudo Mohabbat is all about Farhad and Mahi, both comes from different cultural backgrounds. Farhad falls for her but Mahi rejects her and marries to some other guy. But her life gets in ruins and she believes it to be the result of Farhad's curse. All she wants now is to apologize to him. In the end they both talk for a while and then Farhad dies. Mahi, in shock, remembers her words about staying with Farhad forever in the afterlife, and dies too. The finale was tragic as well as spiritual. Orangrisa tells the story of Sassy, who idealizes her father but she later on becomes vengeful as he forbids her from following her dream of becoming an actress. She also takes his cousin Qasim for granted although he madly loves her. After losing everything, all she now needs is Qasim, but he doesn't love her anymore. In the end we see Sassy dancing in a shrine. This show tells us that how our own ambitions or desires, if left unchecked, can lead to our personal ruin. Sadke Tumar is a roller coaster ride of emotions. It tells us the story of Shaino and Khalil who were engaged in their childhood. But due to the past of their families, they couldn't get married. Khalil and Shaino marry different people and try to live their lives. Years after Khalil receives the news of Shaino's death where he meets her son who she named after Shaino and Khalil. Edil Mera tells us the tragic tale of Aman and Aina. Aman marries Aina to take revenge from Aina's father who not only killed Aman's parents but also Aina's mom. When Aina gets to know Aman's intentions, she decides to part ways with him. Although she still loves him but couldn't trust anymore. This ending leaves you unsure on whether they would ever get back together or not. Ishkia tells the story of love, trust, and betrayal. Hamza marries Rumi to take revenge on Rumi's sister Hamna, with whom he was madly in love with. With time, Rumi and Hamza starts developing feelings for each other but when she finds out Hamza's misdeeds, she decides to leave him for good. Although it was a befitting end to Hamza's character but a tragic one for Rumi who was dragged in this shit for nothing. Kudo Mohabbat is a beautiful love story about two childhood friends Rakshi and Aslam as they get closer to each other with time. But a tragedy strikes which separates their paths and they are married off to other people. When they meet up after years, both reminisce their times together and say they were happy with being each other's first love. It is both a beautiful and a tragic ending. Mir Past portrays the story of Danish whose world revolves around her wife Maywish. But she has big ambitions for which she gets involved with a rich businessman Shawar and leaves Danish. After losing everything she wants apology from Danish. Upon meeting her, he suffers a major heart attack due to facing her and all the grief of disloyalty that she gave him. He passes away in the hospital and Maywish is left all alone for the rest of her life. Although it was a tragic ending but wasn't well received by audience as they wanted him alive in the end. Mohabbat Tumzi Nafrat Hai is a story of love, distrust, and misunderstandings. Maheen and her cousin Waqar falls in love but he leaves her due to a misunderstanding. Years after he returns and gets to know his mistake and marries Maheen. But Maheen on their wedding night consumes poison and leaves a letter to let Waqar know the depth of despair she felt in his lack of trust and his betrayal. This leaves Waqar scarred for his life. Pyare Afzal is an extraordinary love story of Afzal and Farah who were separated by class difference but Afzal falls in love with her at first sight. Eventually Farah also starts loving him. On his return from Karachi, Farah calls him and admits to loving him. But Afzal gets shot by police while he is still on call with Farah. This begins the most painful finale scene of a Pakistani drama ever. This sensational Partition Center drama focuses on Banu who falls in love with Hassan but gets separated during 1947 partition. Years later, when she returns to her homeland she once again faces the same trauma from her past and kills the culprit, and in turn gets admitted into mental asylum. This ending is so tragic that it will make everyone sob for sure. Sanam's acting will blow you away.